have your attention, please?
You're listening to The Daily Ticket with Sean Brace, Philly's first daily sports gambling show.
Let us see the down!
On Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. The action starts here.
All right, welcome back. This is The Daily Ticket with Sean Brace, and you're listening to us on Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Kira Auto Insurance. And I'm really excited to get my man on the line here so we can start talking all things NFL and, of course, Eagles, because Adrian Fedke is joining us right now. And Adrian is our Eagles reporter here for The Gambler. So, Adrian, first off, how you doing, my friend, as we wrap up this fourth and final week of preseason football?
Yeah, a little foreshadowing. We're not clowning around here today. We got some rumors. Jadeveon Clowney, does he want Philadelphia? Reportedly so. So people are getting excited here in Philly. Is he coming to Philly? Seattle is the other destination. Miami wants Clowney, but does Clowney want Miami? He obviously has to sign that $15.9 million tag before he goes anywhere.
Yeah, so that's the issue right now. So what do you think? You think that's a fit if the Eagles were able to make that move, or do you think that Clowney will end up somewhere else?
All right, so here's the way I look at this. Because if you look at it from a financial standpoint, you look at the long-term roster, Eagles, they just signed Carson Wentz to a fat contract, $128 million. You got Fletcher Cox. He's making over $100 million. So if you bring Jadeveon Clowney in, do you have enough money now to pay now a third guy over $100 million? You have the third oldest roster in the NFL. These draft picks coming up are going to be imperative, especially now that you paid Wentz. So from a long-term perspective, I would actually be not for giving him an extension, giving him the $100 million. There are 15 players in the NFL right now that are making over $100 million plus. Seven of them are non-quarterbacks. And you look at those names: Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, DeMarcus Lawrence, Frank Clark, Fletcher Cox, J.J. Watt. I don't think that Clowney is on the same platform as those particular players. I don't think he's a top 15 player in the NFL. Now, when you look at it from this perspective, Clowney has all the leverage. He's the one that has to sign the tag. So Howie Roseman, I'm sure, knows this. And I'm sure he knows the leverage game very, very well. He obviously does. So if it doesn't take too much and you don't have to give up a lot of draft picks, I would actually be for bringing Clowney in for the season and then not giving him the fat contract. So if it doesn't take a lot of resources, I would bring him in and just do it for the year.
And I was reading earlier this morning that I believe Adam Schefter said that it shouldn't take a lot to get him here. So I think he said a third or a fourth-round pick.
Yeah, and obviously Houston, they need offensive line help. And obviously the Eagles have plenty of that. You can maybe give them Big V if they want, if they want a more longer-term project. Jordan Mailata, if you want to throw in maybe Nelson Aguilar, because he's going to be leaving at the end of the year. So, there's plenty of trade bait here in Philly to give Houston. This could happen.
Interesting. Something to keep our eyes on. It's going to happen fast, that's for sure. I would imagine I would not be shocked if we're watching Thursday night's preseason game versus the Jets and this news break, if it doesn't happen before. Something to keep our eyes on. Something else to keep our eyes on as well, Adrian, is Deshaun Jackson. It came down that he broke his finger. Then I was told that I'm not supposed to worry about it, but now I'm seeing possibly 3 to 4 weeks. What's the latest and what's going through your mind when you hear Deshaun Jackson broke a finger?
Yeah, so yesterday they were talking about it. They didn't, seem to make a big deal of it. But now you hear the things today. Obviously, this is going to be a big piece here for the Eagles. You look at the deep threat, and you're hearing what's been going on in training camp with the rapport of Carson Wentz and Deshaun Jackson. So he breaks his ring finger yesterday during practice, and if you're not going to have him for a couple weeks. That's going to obviously put more attention now on Alshon Jeffrey. And that was the big thing about this Eagles and the receivers heading into the season is the versatility. You have so many weapons. You have Deshaun. You have Alshon Jeffrey. Then you look at the tight ends. You have Zach Ertz. You have Dallas Goedert. There's so much versatility, so many different things that they can do. You could work the seams. You could go deep. You can work the intermediate stuff. with Jeffrey. But the big thing is if you don't have Jackson, obviously he stretches the field with his ability to go deep.
Yeah, it would be a tough one to swallow because it seems like that Carson Wentz and Deshaun have built up some chemistry in preseason.
Rapport.
Yeah, so we'll see. All right, let's keep it moving, though, Adrian, if we could. I want to get over to the NFL card. I want to talk about next week's games. I mean, it's regular season. I'm looking forward to that. That's where my mind is at. I can't get down with these preseason games. It's really tough. I don't enjoy watching them. You know, you see bad quarterback play. All these guys are probably making a run at the XFL after they get cut. Whoever goes to the practice squad will be one thing, but after that, then they'll be searching for other leagues. Hey, I have no bones about that. That's not a problem to me, but bottom line is it's just not exciting for me to watch. So I've had enough of NFL preseason, plus guys going down. Williamson over there with the Jets. San Diego's dealt with some injuries. Just enough of the preseason football as far as I'm concerned. So, but with that being said, I do want to ask you about this, though, because the Ravens have won 16 in a row. And how about this? On the other end of the spectrum, the Falcons have lost 12 straight preseason games. That's right. The Ravens have won 16 preseason games in a row. Falcons have lost 12 straight. Falcons are a 4-point road dog at Jacksonville. Ravens are -6 at the Skins. If somebody was to take a little bit of a wager out, I would not argue them betting on the Ravens, but -6 in a fourth preseason game, that's a lot of points.
That's a lot for a preseason game, but I'll tell you what, Trace McSorley looks pretty good for them. Obviously played here, Philadelphia, Penn State area. So -6, I don't know about that, but you look at Atlanta losing 12 straight and all the injuries that it dealt with last year. That's a team obviously not looking to play anybody. The fourth preseason game, nobody's playing. I'm curious if the Ravens can go for 17 in a row.
Yeah,
that'd be really impressive.
That's the two. Those are the two that I'm watching for tomorrow. It's the only two games that I care.
Those are the 4 storylines.
It's the only two games I care about because every team is in action tomorrow night. But those are the only two games that I care about. All right, let's talk about some regular season, some games that we all care about. This is what it's all about right now. And we open things up. I'm going to go ahead and we'll go down the board here. You give me a little thoughts on the games, whatever's sticking out to you. But we open things up with Thursday Night Football next week on NBC. Bears and Packers. It's at Chicago Soldier Field. Bears opened up as a 3-point favorite, and that's where it's at right now. Over under total 46. What's your thoughts on this Thursday night game? Because I'm having a hard time going against Aaron Rodgers, but is that a mistake?
It is not a mistake. And if you look at last year, Green Bay beat Chicago in the season opener to kick off 2018. So you look at this game, and the immediate thing that I look at is obviously this Bears defense. Led the NFL last year in interceptions with 27, defensive touchdowns with 6, and they were third with 50 sacks. But they were also 3-2 last year against teams who got the ball out within 2.5 seconds or less. That is the key to beating Chicago. So getting the ball out quick, you look at Devontae Adams, the quick outs, the quick slants. That's going to be the recipe to success to beating Chicago. And also, I'm really curious to see what this Matt LaFleur-led offense is going to look like with Aaron Rodgers, a reinvigorated Aaron Rodgers, no more McCarthy there in tow. It's a new look offense, more of a new school look. So I like Green Bay to win outright here in Chicago to kick off the season. 8 days from now, we're 8 days away, Bryce.
That's what it's all about, brother. I'm all about that with you there. All right, moving on. Titans, Browns. Browns at home, opening up the season. Everybody loves the Browns. They should have an easy one with this one as far as I'm concerned. But interesting number. Browns are now -5. Over-under set at 45.5. Like I said, this game is in Cleveland. Cleveland is everybody's darlings. But the Titans are just a bad squad.
Yeah, I'm curious about this game, too, because that 5 right there, that -5, Cleveland, 24th against the run last year at 4.7 yards per carry. So this is going to be the thing that I'm looking at. So the run defense of Cleveland, and you look at how Derrick Henry closed the year, 585 yards in his last 4 games of the season, 6.7 yards per carry. So Tennessee is a team that likes to run the ball a lot, likes to run the ball on first down. But you look at Cleveland, they made some defensive changes during the offseason. They are no longer playing a 3-4. They're now in a 4-3 with Steve Wilkes, the defensive coordinator. They signed Sheldon Richardson to plug up the middle, traded for Olivier Vernon. Carl Davis was added for depth. So I think they'll be better against the run. But the question here is, it's 5 points. Is this a game that's going to be won by Cleveland by more than 5 points? I don't know about that, because we might have a game here that might be a little closer than people think, because Tennessee might limit the possessions. They're running the football, and if they can run it successfully, you're looking at potentially like an 8-possession game instead of 12, which is your normal average in a game. So if it's like that and you have a lower scoring game, I actually would look at the number there, the 45.5, and take the under. That's the number I'm more attracted towards than the actually Cleveland -5.
Interesting. Now it is up to -5.5 now. How about that? 65% of the bets.
Man, everyone's on Cleveland. That makes me want to think Tennessee's going to cover that.
65% of the bets on Cleveland right there. So we'll see what happens. Looking forward to that matchup. All right, let's keep it going. Ravens and Dolphins. This game is in Miami. Miami -5.5 right now. Baltimore. Baltimore is -5.5 on the road. It opened up at 3.5, and 78% of the bets are on the Ravens. Look, Miami, kind of the quarterback situation. It's up in the air. A lot of people are wondering what the offense is going to look like. But Ravens, given that many points on the road to open the season, and it is tough to play in that Florida weather. That's for sure.
Yeah. So the 37.5. That's actually the lowest over/under, which was interesting to see. Obviously, Vegas looking at the Ravens going to be limiting the possessions and running the football a lot. And you look at that Miami defense from last year, it was an abomination defending the run. So 26 in yards per carry allowed. They were 31st in rushing yards per game allowed at 145.3. And this was a Ravens offense, obviously, last year that was running the football a lot. Lamar Jackson started only 7 games for them, had an NFL, I believe it was NFL's leading rushing attempts with 147. So Miami started 8 games and started 7 at 147. I'm curious to see what this Ravens offense looks like this year. They got Greg Roman in there. And if you remember Greg Roman, he was the offensive coordinator of those 49ers teams led by Colin Kaepernick when, they were running the pistol and all those option plays. So with this Ravens offense, any given play, we're going to see bootlegs, misdirections with Lamar Jackson, RPOs, speed options, double options. They had Paul Johnson in here during the summer to talk to the coaching staff. He was infamous for his triple option offense at Georgia Tech and Navy. So I like the Ravens by a lot in this game. I like the 5.5 here.
Interesting. All right. Keeping it moving. Atlanta and Minnesota at Minnesota. Minnesota is now a 4-point favorite versus the team that I think will win their division, and that's Atlanta. I think they take the South this year, and 82% of the money is on them. This game has stayed put. It opened at 4. It's now still 4 as we speak. Once again, this is in Minnesota. Tough place to go and open up the season, but Atlanta knows what it's like to play in a dome. What's your thoughts on this game early?
Yeah, and you kind of said it already there. To win the NFC South, I like that prediction from you. You look at the Falcons year in and year out. Whenever they're kind of flying under the radar, that's when they excel. And you look at last year, they started the year 1-4. They dealt with a lot of injuries. They lost Deion Jones, the linebacker. They lost both of their starting safeties, Keanu Neal, Ricardo Allen. Running backs, Devontae Freeman lost him. Ito Smith lost both of their guards, Brandon Fusco and Andy Levitre. So many injuries. Team IR last year in Atlanta. Also, a new offensive coordinator, and thank God for that. Dirk Cutter is in here now, so I like the Falcons in this game. Kevin Stefanski, new offensive coordinator there for Minnesota as well. But I think the Falcons are kind of flying under the radar here to start the season. Minus 4 for Minnesota. I like the Falcons winning this game outright going to Minnesota.
Like it. Now we're heading up to MetLife. Battle of 2 New York teams. It opened at 3. It stays at 3 right now as we speak. We got Buffalo at the Jets. I would like to see Buffalo do something good here, but I'm really curious to see what Sam Darnold year 2 looks like in that Jets offense now that he has some weapons. They are the 3-point favorite at home, and 78% of the money right now is on the Jets. So that tells you a little something there, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so Sam Darnold, obviously Josh Allen's the other one. So 2 second-year quarterbacks, a little bit tough to project at the moment, but I like Darnold at the moment. I think he's a step ahead of Allen. Obviously, you talked about the weapons, the Robbie Anderson, obviously Le'Veon Bell brought in during the offseason, and Adam Gase and his offense likes to utilize that running back coming out of the backfield. I like the Jets in this game, making his debut, Gase's debut. at MetLife Stadium. Give me the Jets.
Okay. It's going to be a good game, I think. I think that might be a little surprising for a lot of people. You know what? I don't really want to get into the Redskins and Eagles. I think we're all on the same page there. So let's keep it moving if we can. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit on Friday. So we'll get back. We'll get back into that game, but let's keep it moving. Let's talk a little about the Rams and Panthers and Cam Newton getting hurt. That's everything. He is their offense, and I know Christian McCaffrey was incredible last year, but if they don't have Cam Newton, they're in trouble. What's your thoughts on this game? As the line right now is still the Rams -3 on the road in Charlotte, and 77% of the bets are on the Rams, and I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either. You look at the last two season openers by the Rams, won by a combined score of 79-22. LA and that Sean McVay offense always starts the season hot, and I don't think it's going to look any different this time around, especially with Cam Newton dealing with that injury. This could be a big-time blowout here in Carolina.
Yeah, I like the Rams to have success again this year. I know a lot of people are trying to talk themselves into them having some struggles this season, but I think the Rams are going to keep rolling, man. I like Jared Goff. I like Sean McVay. I love that offense, that style. So I know they're dealing some stuff with Gurley, but I think if they're able to get that figured out, I like the Rams to really duplicate what they did last year and maybe not go to the Super Bowl. We'll see. Hopefully that's reserved for the Eagles. All right, we're keeping it moving. Let's head down to Jacksonville. Andy Reid and the Chiefs travel to Jacksonville, take on the Jags. Currently that line is the Chiefs -4. 71% of the bets are on the Chiefs, And this is interesting because Nick Foles is now the starting quarterback for the Jags. And, oh, by the way, Andy Reid drafted Nick Foles for the Eagles. Pretty cool story there.
Really cool story. And the story that I'm looking forward to seeing in this game, can this Jacksonville defense return to its dominance from 2 years ago? So Yannick Ngakoue, Calais Campbell, that defensive line is stacked. They just drafted Josh Allen, who looks like a beast this preseason. He's been unbelievable. Jalen Ramsey go against Tyreek Hill. That's going to be a lot of fun to see. You look at last year, Ramsey led him to his fifth lowest total of the season, 7 receptions for 61 yards. So the matchup here is Leonard Fournette. Can he stay healthy? Can Jacksonville limit possessions? Because you look at Kansas City, that run defense wasn't good last year. 5.0 yards per carry allowed. That was 31st in the NFL. 132.1 yards allowed was 27th. If you remember the AFC Championship game, the Patriots were running the ball down their throats. So if Fournette can get going, and they can limit the game, limit the possessions, I think they can cover and get that 4.
Yeah, we'll be watching that one. Let's keep it moving. We're going out to the Chargers, head out to L.A., and I'm pretty sure this game opened at 3.5. Chargers as a favorite over the Colts, and then when Andrew Luck retired, it bounced up, and now Jacoby Brissett is leading the way for the Colts, but still the Chargers are now a 7-point favorite. 67% of the bets coming in on the Chargers. Jacoby Brissett, a lot of people are trying to sell him to me. What's your thoughts on that deal with the Colts and the Chargers?
I mean, I'll say this. I think he's probably better than people think, but the Colts are also 4-11 in games that Brissett has started. And you look at this, he's named the starter 2 weeks before the start of the season. I mean, how can you be mentally prepared as a Colts player? You're thinking Andrew Luck is starting the season. You have potential Super Bowl aspirations, and now Jacoby Brissett is your starter 2 weeks before the season. I think this is a game that the Chargers could potentially win big.
Yeah, I like you said, they got to be a little flustered. I like Frank Reich. They started out 1-5 last year, though, so it could be another slow start for that team. Yeah, it could be. But when you lose your quarterback 2 weeks before the season,
it's tough.
Expectations go out the window. All right, Bengals and the Seahawks. Seattle dealing with their fair share of injuries this preseason. Yeah. Cincinnati, expectations every year. Who knows? I'm not really putting too much onto them, and I'll tell you what, neither is Vegas or any other books all across the East Coast, as the Bengals are a +9.5 dog. Seattle, favored at home, toughest place to play in the NFL, obviously, -9.5 at home. 61% of the bets, though, on the Bengals. Interesting there. That's a lot of points to face in Week 1 for the NFL. So that's what I would imagine on that one. But what's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, 9.5, that is a lot of points. But no A.J. Green heading into CenturyLink Field. You look at Andy Dalton, I don't think he's going to be going into CenturyLink Field and having much success. I like Tyler Boyd for them. I think he's kind of underrated, but I don't like him enough to go into Seattle and kind of put up much of a fight. I like the Seahawks in this game. Now, Seattle is also a team that kind of starts slow. It's you look at the records year in and year out, but in Seattle against Andy Dalton, I think Seattle might actually cover this 9.5.
Wow. All right. Something to keep our eyes on that one.
Yeah.
Like I said, toughest place to play. All right.
Yep.
NFC East, NL East. I had the Phillies on my mind, even though they did lose yesterday. But the Giants and Cowboys open up the season again, and this time it's at Dallas. The line has stayed put, that's for sure. Zeke or not, it's Dallas is a touchdown favorite, and I'm not buying that one. And 88% of the money right now is currently on the G-Men. I kind of side with that as far as if you're going to give me a touchdown, I'm going to roll with the Giants. Adrian, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a lot of points, especially for an NFC East rivalry game. And even if you look at the two games last year, the Giants lost 40-13 in Week 2, 36-35 in Week 17. So it's not like these games were blowouts last year. That's a lot of points. And with these contract situations with Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, I don't know where Dallas is mentally. I think they can win this game, but I don't think they get the 7.
All right. Lions and Cardinals, currently Detroit on the road at Arizona, and they're a 2.5-point favorite with 74% of the money on Detroit as we speak. Thoughts on that game quickly?
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury. The story's about him. He's been hiding the details of this Kyler Murray-led scheme. So what's it going to look like? The hiring kind of reminds me of Chip Kelly a little bit. Obviously, there's this big, attractive name coming from the college ranks. At home at Arizona, first game, not knowing what to expect from Detroit's perspective, I think Arizona, they might surprise and actually win this game. So I'll take the Cardinals to win, but then again, I don't know how this game's going to look like. It might be a complete disaster. I'm not big on this Cliff Kingsbury hiring, but I think they might win this game.
Okay,
Detroit's not really good.
We're heading down to South Florida. Tough place to play. 49ers and the Buccaneers. And this is an interesting one because this line is really, really short. But I'm telling you, we learned it. We saw it with our own eyes last year when the Eagles went down to Tampa. September football in Florida, it is just going to be a swamp down there. And a lot of people, 84% of the money is on the 49ers. Short line, Tampa Bay only a point favorite. I tend to lean towards the Bucs on this one, and I don't know if that's the right play or not. What's your thoughts?
Well, I'll say this. Jimmy Garoppolo does not look good at all. But you look at the pass defense of Tampa Bay, 259 yards allowed per game was 26. The quarterback rating allowed was 110.9. So that pass defense isn't good. They do have a new coach, Bruce Arians. What can he do with Jameis Winston? I'm not liking San Francisco as much as I did a month ago. So Tampa Bay at home, you're kind of right. They excel in September. I'm kind of leaning towards the Bucs in this game.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit tougher than what people really think it's going to be down there.
I agree.
Pittsburgh and New England. Let's see here. New England is a 6-point favorite at home. Of course they are. Tom Brady looking to do it again. Pittsburgh dealing with all that as issues. Last season, it seems like they've kind of cleansed themselves. They have looked good this preseason, including that Game 3 versus Tennessee. Big Ben hooking up with Juju. They got the firepower. I love Mike Tomlin. 6 points on the road. 56% of the people are on the Patriots, of course. What's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'm curious how the Patriots offense looks like heading into the season. In the postseason, we kind of saw more of an old school look. They brought back the power football in the postseason. Sony Michel scored 6 playoff touchdowns. That was a rookie record. So Michel is the guy I'm curious to see heading into this game. Pittsburgh has been kind of struggling stopping the run ever since the unfortunate injury to Ryan Shazier. I like the Patriots in this game, but I don't know if I like them by 6 points. 51.5, that's a big over-under if the Patriots are going to be running the ball a lot. Man, I think the Patriots win, but they don't cover.
Okay. Monday Night Football, little Hank Williams. Are you ready for football? Yes. The Saints at home. They got the Texans coming in. Saints -7. We got a doubleheader, of course. That's how we do it every single season to open it up. And then Oakland, the Raiders still in Oakland. Next year we'll be moving to Vegas. They're a 3-point favorite versus Denver. Let's start with New Orleans, though. People are sleeping on Drew Brees. I have no idea why. That is the second toughest place to play in the league. That's for darn sure. But the Saints -7 at home versus the Texans. Your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I don't like this game for Houston for this very reason. Houston allowed 62 sacks last year. That was by far the most in the NFL. Dallas is second with 56, so you can see the separation right there from even 1 to 2. New Orleans was fifth in sacks last year with 49. So that's going to be a lot of pressure on Deshaun Watson. He's going to be running around for most of the night. It's a 7-point spread, so it's a lot of points. But at home, New Orleans kicking off the season. I like the Saints in this game, and I like to cover the spread, too.
68% of the money is on the Texans. That's like you said, Deshaun Watson can make plays, good defense. Although, how many injuries are they dealing with, and how can you just take? They're losing Clowney. Lamar Jackson goes down. It's like, can Houston really just keep it going? I don't know. We'll see. Looking forward to that Monday night. And finally, last game on the board. Quickly, thoughts on this one. Denver, Oakland. Oakland -3. 72% of the money is on the Broncos.
Yeah, I like the Broncos in this game as well. I kind of think the Raiders are a clown show, man. It's a complete circus down there. Antonio Brown complaining about his helmet. But that's going to be a fun matchup watching him go against Chris Harris. I think Chris Harris is the most underrated cornerback in the league. Denver -1. I like the Broncos in this game.
Awesome. Well, we just ran down the board with some early thoughts. This is exactly what I wanted to do. Start the show off talking some NFL, preseason, 2 games to keep our eyes on. Of course, mixed in a little Eagles conversation. Deshaun, Jadeveon Clowney, will he be in an Eagles uniform? We shall see. And nobody does it better than my guy from PhillyInformation.com, but he is now our Eagles beat reporter here for The Gambler. This is the one, the only Mr. Adrian Fedku. And you can find him, spell it out, at Adrian Fedku. That's FEDKIW on social media. Adrian, I greatly appreciate 25 minutes of your time. We will touch base on Friday after we get some college football and these fourth and final preseason games out of the way. Thank you very much, man, for hopping on today.
Yeah, nailed the name this time, man. I'm proud of you. Thank you.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right, we'll talk to you, Adrian. Thank you. All right, coming up on the other side.